He's the one you should be arresting, officer, not this boy. He did nothing wrong.
All right, ma'am, please step back. This is an active investigation.
The air in the house felt wrong, like it had been holding its breath too long. I stood frozen in the kitchen, my fingers still curled around the handle of the fridge, staring at the single red lipstick smudge on the rim of my favorite coffee mug. It wasn't mine. The vibrant crimson slash stood out like a wound against the white ceramic, a silent scream in the quiet morning. My heart thudded, a dull hammer against my ribs, as I tried to convince myself it was nothing, maybe a guest, maybe a mistake. But the mug hadn't left this house, and Ethan, my husband of 8 years, was the only other person who lived here. I set the mug down carefully, as if it might shatter under the weight of my suspicion. The kitchen was still, sunlight slicing through the blinds in sharp, accusing lines across the counter. I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator, the distant chirp of birds outside. But inside me, a storm was brewing. Doubt crept in like damp rot, seeping into the cracks of my trust. Ethan had been late last night, again. A client dinner, he'd said, his voice smooth as ever, his smile warm. But now, that smile felt like a mask, and the lipstick was a crack in it. I moved through the house, my bare feet cold against the hardwood, searching for something to disprove the gnawing in my gut. The living room was pristine, the couch cushions fluffed, the coffee table free of clutter. Too perfect, maybe. Ethan's office door was ajar, and I hesitated before pushing it open. His desk was a chaos of papers, his laptop half buried under a stack of contracts. I wasn't the type to snoop, never had been, but the mug had changed something. It had made me a stranger in my own home. My fingers trembled as I lifted the laptop lid. The screen flickered to life, and there it was, his email, still open, unguarded. I scrolled, my breath shallow, until a name caught my eye, Lila. Not a client, not a colleague, but a name he'd mentioned once, months ago with a casual laugh. A graphic designer, he'd said, helping with a project. The email was brief, but it burned into my vision. Missed you last night. Same time tomorrow. No context, no explanation, just those words, intimate and damning, signed with a single L. I sat back, the chair creaking under me, my mind racing to rationalize it. Maybe it was professional. Maybe missed you was just friendly, platonic. But the lipstick flashed in my mind, that bold, unfamiliar red. My chest tightened, anger warring with denial. I wanted to call him, to scream, to demand answers, but fear held me back. What if I was wrong? What if I was right? The day dragged on, each minute a slow drip of dread. I cleaned the house, scrubbed the mug until my knuckles ached, trying to erase the evidence of my unraveling. When Ethan came home, his tie loosened, his dark hair slightly mussed, he looked like the man I'd loved since college. The man who'd proposed on a rainy rooftop, who'd held me through my mother's funeral. But now, every gesture felt calculated, every smile a potential lie. "Hey, babe," he said, dropping his briefcase by the door. His voice was warm, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Rough day." I forced a smile, my lips tight. "Just the usual." "You." He shrugged, moving to the kitchen, his back to me. "Meetings, the usual grind. You know how it is." I followed him, my heart pounding. "Any interesting clients?" The question slipped out, sharper than I intended. He paused, his hand on a glass, water running from the faucet. "Nothing worth talking about." He turned, his gaze meeting mine for a moment before sliding away. "You okay? You seem off." I wanted to scream about the mug, the email, the creeping dread that had taken root in me. But I didn't. Instead, I nodded, my throat tight. Just tired. That night, I lay beside him, the space between us a chasm. His breathing was steady, oblivious, while I stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our marriage. The late nights he'd blamed on work, the new cologne he'd started wearing, the way his phone was always face down now. Small things, easily dismissed until they weren't. I told myself I was paranoid, that love didn't erode this quietly. But the evidence was piling up, each piece a splinter in my heart. The next day, I followed him. It felt like betrayal, my own this time, as I trailed his car through the city, my hands gripping the steering wheel. He parked outside a sleek office building, and I watched from a distance as he met her, Lila. She was tall, her auburn hair catching the sunlight, her laugh carrying across the street as she touched his arm. It was brief, professional, but it cut me all the same. I drove home, tears blurring the road, guilt and anger twisting together. Was I the fool for doubting him, or for trusting him too long? That evening, I confronted him. The kitchen was dim, the air heavy with the scent of takeout we hadn't touched. "Who's Lila?" I asked, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. His fork froze halfway to his mouth. "Lila? Just a designer on the project." "What?" "I saw her name in your email. And there's lipstick on my mug, Ethan. Red lipstick. I don't wear red." His face changed, a flicker of something, guilt, maybe, or defiance. "You went through my email?" His voice was low, accusatory. "Don't turn this on me." I snapped, my voice breaking. "Tell me the truth." He stood, pacing, his hands raking through his hair. "It's not what you think, Sarah. It's complicated." "Complicated?" I laughed, bitter and sharp. "Is that what you call cheating?" "I'm not." He stopped, his jaw tight. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was one time a mistake. I love you, Sarah. You know that." His words were a knife, twisting deeper. "A mistake. One time." But the mug, the email, the late nights, they told a different story. I wanted to believe him, to cling to the life we'd built, but trust was a fragile thing, and he'd shattered it. "Then why lie?" I whispered, tears spilling over. "Why her?" He didn't answer, his silence louder than any confession. I walked away, my heart a hollow ache, knowing I couldn't stay in a house built on lies. Days later, I found the letter. Tucked in his briefcase, crumpled and forgotten, it was from Lila. Not an email, but handwritten, intimate. "I know we said we'd stop, but I can't. I love you, Ethan." The words burned, final and undeniable. But there was more, a photo, slipped between the folds, of them together, her lips red and smiling, his arm around her. It wasn't one time. It wasn't a mistake. I didn't confront him again. Instead, I packed a bag, left the mug on the counter, and walked out. The house felt smaller as I closed the door, like it was shrinking under the weight of betrayal. But as I drove away, the photo in my pocket, a new emotion flickered through the pain, resolve. I'd loved him with everything, but I wouldn't let his lies define me. The twist came later, when I learned Lila wasn't just a designer. She was his boss's wife. Ethan hadn't just betrayed me. He'd gambled everything, his career, his future, for a secret that could destroy him. And as I sat in my new apartment, the city humming outside, I realized I wasn't the only one he'd broken. That knowledge didn't heal me, but it gave me something to hold on to, a spark of justice in the wreckage of my heart.